Hello and welcome back to the show. We call it That's Life. Hi guys, it's That's Life. And after all, that's life. Today we're talking about something a little bit more abstract than we've been thus far. So far we've been talking about things like skincare routines, how to take care of your skin, how to look fly at work without looking like every other white male always does, you know. We know it be like that. It do be like that sometimes. We talked about what's happening in 2020 and blah, 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 you know. But Greg had a really good idea recently. He thought, why don't we talk about something a little bit more abstract? And I said, like, what? He was like, let's talk about creativity. And I was like, sure. That sounds really creative, Greg. Well done. So let's do that today. But before we do that, you guys know what we have to do. I gotta plug myself, and I gotta plug the company, Synergy One. So let's check out the most recent episode of This Week Today. Roll the clip. Remember last week when I said that the CFPB has been rolling back a lot of regulation for mortgage lending? Well, this is exactly that thing that I said. The CFPB is planning to propose, so it isn't set in stone yet, to eliminate debt-to-income ratio requirements from qualified mortgage rules. Yep. I know this is gripping news right now for your start of the week, but it really does matter. I mean, the rule reviews a borrower's cash stacks, that's money, and then looks at all that beautiful American debt, and hopefully that debt-to-income ratio is at or below 43%, which sort of guarantees that they can repay the loan. In place of the debt-to-income rule that Bank of America, Quicken Loans, Wells Fargo, Caliber Home Loans, Mortgage Bankers Association, American Bankers Association, and National Fair Housing Alliance aimed to remove, the idea is to shift towards an alternative. Pricing threshold, perhaps? Anyone? Pricing threshold? And the end goal here is to better establish what qualifies as a QM loan, level the playing field among lenders, and ensure that consumers continue to have access to credit, which is great if there wasn't such a shortage of homes for sale. And now you know more about your finances. Aren't you so thankful for that? You're welcome, America. Jesus. Okay, anyway, we got Greg. Greg, hello, sir.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. I am Bender. Please insert girder. That's a joke for about 3 people out there. That's it.
Yeah.
All right. So one thing I want to ask you, because I just put it on my Instagram, this has nothing to do with creativity, but I have to ask you, Greg. Did you see the thing on my Instagram? I have it pulled up right now. Did you see it?
I saw it.
The thing about the
categories.
drinks. Okay.
Yes.
So Barstool Sports posted this thing. Yeah, it was Barstool Sports. Posted a thing. And it was like, you have to say which one you like from 1 to 6 or A to F. And in this category, normally I've been seeing them like, how do you like your steak? And how do you like your coffee? And how do you like your toast? This one has nothing to do with that. It has to do with your alcohols of choice. So why don't we go one by one? Because I'm curious for the audience to know. And I'm also curious for Greg, because I don't know what Greg's is, but Greg knows what mine is now, I think. 1 through 6 in the beer category is, number 1 is Bud Light. Number 2 is Miller Lite. Number 3 is Coors Light. Number 4 is Michelob Ultra. Number 5 is Natty Light. Ew, I'll tell you right now, that's not the answer.
Yeah, no, definitely
And
not.
number 6 is Truly. Think about it. I want to guess yours, Greg. I think that yours is, I'm going to say Michelob. I'm not going to lie.
Michelob?
I'm going to say Michelob because your dad loves to drink Michelob.
That would be like my joking answer.
Ah, damn it. Okay. Then my real answer would be Bud Light.
No.
Fuck. Two wrong in a row. I don't know him at all.
I'll say mine is what I think yours also is, because it's what we have drank the most of together, and that's Miller Lite.
Yeah, that's true. Mine is Miller Lite. You're right.
Okay.
I didn't know that yours was going to also be Miller Lite, though.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what I drink when I'm golfing and everything. Miller, it's way better.
It's way better. It's way better.
It is.
All right, so if you're one of those people out there who said Natty Light, grow up, bro. All right? We were all in a fraternity at one point. Whoa. All right? Jesus. Greg hates me right now. Okay. A through F in the vodka category. Honestly, I don't even know what this first one is. Pink Whitney is A.
Pink Whit?
Yeah, I don't even know what the hell that is. It's New Amsterdam. That's why. It's like New Amsterdam Pink Whitney. Why don't we just...
Yeah.
It's either New Amsterdam is A, Burnett's is B, Grey Goose is C, Tito's is D, Taka is E, and Kettle One is F. All right, so I can assume that Greg is neither B or E. He's not Burnett's and he's not Taka. I'm going to say that Greg is probably Tito's? D?
No.
Fuck. Are you Kettle One?
It's either Kettle One or Grey Goose, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not a vodka dude to begin with at all.
I guess that's true, huh? Yeah.
My dad does drink Kettle One martinis up with olives, though. So
there we go.
Like,
I remember
get it
that.
from my dad. Yeah, so either Kettle One or Grey Goose.
I remember that. Okay, Kettle One. Out there, viewers out there, if you answered our joke answer, which is B or E, you're gross. And cheap, dude.
Yeah, Burnett's. Jesus.
I know. Okay, now we're on to the tequila category, which is a really touchy subject for a lot of people, but I like tequila. Greg and I like tequila, so we haven't
Certain types of tequila.
Certain types, right. We haven't ruined it for ourselves quite yet, which is strange, because we should have, but we didn't.
Yeah.
But we didn't, partner. All right, so we got the tequilas, which is 1, Jose Cuervo, 2, Patron, 3, 1800, Patron Silver, by the way. 2 is Patron Silver. 3 is 1800. 4 is El Toro. Number 5 is El Jimador. And number 6 is Don Julio. Greg, I hope...
That's a tough one.
I hope to God that your answer isn't number 1. Because if you know those who know me know that I hate Jose Cuervo.
Yeah, I do too, unless it's the Reserva, which is like $120 a bottle,
true.
Which we drank together, which was amazing.
With my dad, that's right.
But that is literally the only Jose Cuervo that I will drink.
I'll tell my dad that you remember that. He'll be like,
oh yeah,
I remember
dude.
that.
When I go to the cigar bar, dude, I go and have a cigar and some Reserva, and it's like the best afternoon, man.
Oh,
yeah.
I love
it.
Magnifica. Yeah, all right. No, you're right. That is true. Jose Cuervo is garbage unless it's Reserva. Okay.
Yeah.
Greg, I'm going to go ahead and guess that yours is probably Patron.
No.
Fuck. What's yours then? I don't even know. Don Julio?
Read the ones after Patron again.
Okay, so that's number 3 is 1800. Number 4 is El Toro. Number 5 is El Jimador, and number 6 is Don Julio.
I would pick either Don or 1800.
Okay. You gotta choose one, though.
I'll pick Don.
Okay.
I think you're 1800.
No, actually. I do
not. No? Or are you Don?
No, I'm El Jimador, actually.
Oh, you are, dude? I was gonna guess that.
Yeah, I actually love it. The one that's really not on here that I like is Milagro. That's one that not a whole lot of people drink, but I do like it. Love Milagro, actually. I don't drink Patron much anymore because my dad always used to, I don't know, whenever we go out, my dad is always like, let's get some shots of Patron. I'm like, nah, not anymore.
I never drink Patron.
Done with Patron, Dad. All right, last one. And this is a big one for all you cowboys out there. We're talking whiskey. We have A is Fireball.
That's
B,
out.
Yeah, that's out. B, Jameson. C, Jack Daniels. D, Crown Royal. E, Jim Beam. And F, Woodford Reserve. Uh-oh. We just heard a beeping here in the studio.
I just heard that too.
You heard it?
Uh-oh,
what happened? What did we do? We must have done something crazy.
You done broke it.
It done broked. We're getting our man Carlos on the scene. There it goes.
Oh,
it's gone.
It shut off.
Dude, is this the beginning of our scary movie?
You should go catch it.
Oh, man. Please leave that in the podcast. I hope you didn't stop recording because that was funny. Well, this is the start of our scary movie. That's how all scary movies start, by the way. The electronics start having a mind of their own. So this is it. Yeah. Last episode. Thanks, guys. No. Sorry. I know we're supposed to be talking about creativity, but I really wanted to know about this Instagram post. So we're on whiskey. So it's Fireball, Jameson, Jack Daniels, Crown Royal, Jim Beam, or Woodford Reserve. That's A through F. Greg is most definitely Jack Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Daniels.
Jack Daniels.
All right, Greg, what am I then?
I'm going to guess you are... I feel like you would like Woodford Reserve. I don't think that would be your choice. I think your choice would probably be Jameson.
No,
it's
not.
Because my brother's a Jameson dude.
Yes, he is. I remember that.
Yeah.
We've had plenty of Jameson together, but it's not the one I would pick out all these.
What was the third to last one that you said?
Crown Royal and Jim Beam. Think about it.
I don't think it's Crown.
No, it's definitely not Crown.
Is it Jack Daniels?
It's Jack Daniels!
Yeah, Jack Daniels!
All right, so if you guys guessed a Woodford Reserve out there, quick story. I totally blacked out on Woodford Reserve the first time I drank it. I'll never drink it again. Totally totally blacked out. The word around my house is I blacked out at a work event, shockingly. Total honesty right there. And I came back, and my one go-to liner when I'm like blacked out for some reason is, "You don't even know." You don't even know. I'm okay sharing that information with you guys because you don't even know.
Don't even know.
So anyway, let's talk about creativity because that was a little creative post that I really enjoyed. Thanks, Barstool. So Greg, I want to ask you, dude, because we talk about creativity a lot. I just want to remain creative. Like, for what reason though? You know, not everyone out there has a creative job or even thinks that they're creative. So why would you need to be creative? And I'll tell you why really quickly. I'm going to give you some facts, or not even facts, but just some research and findings that we did throughout this week.
And drop some knowledge.
And tell you why creativity is important. There's a company called Applied Educational Systems Education, all right? The website is aeseducation.com, all right? And they talk about this thing that's really important for kids these days that people in our age group, like millennials, really don't get and didn't get because when we were born, we didn't have to worry about or didn't think about this thing, like technology and shit. They're called 21st century skills, all right? And there's 12 of them. There's critical thinking, collaboration, communication, creativity. That fits into one category called the learning skills category. There's literacy skills, which are super important, which I'd love to talk to you on a different episode. It's information literacy, media literacy. Whew, you guys need to get some fucking literacy in those bitches hardcore.
That's a good one.
My God. And technology literacy, which is just sort of, that comes with the territory of being young. So, and then there's life skills, which is flexibility, leadership, initiative, productivity, and social interaction, social ability, not socialism. Republicans out there, don't worry. Just kidding. Or I'm not. So, yeah, and I thought it was really interesting how much they talk about the 4 C's in particular, which are, of course, critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication. Creativity, just at its basic for kids these days, teaches students to think outside the box. And I know that it's such a... Oh, think outside the box. Wow, thank you so much for that fucking information. Thinking outside the box. Well, what they say basically is that critical thinking and creativity exist on a similar playing field so that we can use our creative ability to understand how to solve these problems. And it's yeah, but isn't that exactly what critical thinking is? It's critical thinking is just solving problems. Creativity is sort of what the baseline is for that sort of thing. And Greg, I want to ask you, somebody, I know that you write music, you play music. Me and all of our friends just helped put together some money so that you could buy a new guitar, which congratulations, by the way, Greg got a new guitar.
Yeah, thank you.
how are you creative in general in life? When you are, I mean, in reality, you work for Levi's, which doesn't sound exactly creative. So, like, why would you need it? What do you do?
Yeah. I mean, being a store manager and having like a team of my own and running a store from top to bottom, like there's its own issues every single day in all kinds of different areas of the store and the business just in general. So, I mean, being creative in the way you solve problems can help you save payroll. It can help you, you know, get higher sales. It can help any of your like key performance indicators, which is like our units per transaction and stuff like that. Like, depending on what we're trying to do in the store,
Right.
you have to be creative in order to put your best foot forward and actually see some kind of good result from it. And the easier it makes it on you when you're creative rather than just doing kind of like a basic solve.
Yeah.
Like if you're creative about it and you really think about it, you know, you can be a lot more effective and a lot more productive also.
Yeah, I think that's the problem sometimes. We get into thinking like, at least I do, you have to find that like the balance for how creative you have to be to like solve a problem. Because droning through a bunch of problem solving often doesn't solve the problem long term. Being extra creative, you might be doing a little bit too much to solve the problem. But there is, of course...
You need to know when to stop.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's called overthinking.
You can't just keep like going on stuff and just like trying to think of a better and better way. It's like sometimes you have to settle on one thing and just go with it.
Dude, yeah, that's tough. That's a tough one for me because I'm definitely like a exhibit A overthinker, like hardcore, and it's sometimes beneficial in creative work. I mean, what I do is quite literally creative work. I write and I act. I'm an actor. Jesus. I write and I come up with storyboard ideas and the video and the writing and the ideas for how we can get more videos and just kind of marketing in general is obviously such a creative venture, and the way that you market and come up with like a campaign is like, it's at every level. It's like, think about it. What would you want to do? Like, what could be funny? What might be able to get viewers? What might be... So it's easy for me to say like, yeah, creativity is important. Like, I know how to get out of creative ruts, and I know how to do this, and I feel like I'm confident enough to be like, if I'm thinking about something creatively, I don't have to sit there at night, drink my Burnett's vodka. I'm just kidding. And go, what the hell is wrong with me? Or like, man, am I overthinking this right now? Because at some point I have gotten in that like little creative zone that's the right balance where I'm not overthinking and I'm not underthinking either. I don't feel like I'm just like phoning it in, which if you're like me, is an awful feeling, dude. When I feel like I'm phoning it in, it's just like, fuck that, dude. I hate that idea. Even if it might be a good idea, if I feel like I'm being lazy, I'm like, come on, Chase, you can do better than that.
Yeah.
So when you're using creativity, like, do you think of ways, or do you like outside of work when you're not having to purposefully be creative for your job, do you find yourself outside of work like trying to curate your creativity like muscle, you know what I mean? Trying to
like
flex that, you're trying to work it out, you're trying to like figure out like how you can sort of mold the mind a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Like, I mean, I would say I try to be creative at least every day, like once or twice outside of work.
Otherwise, you're just droning.
Yeah, otherwise you're kind of just, you know, moving through life. Like, creativity is what makes life more interesting. And, you know, I feel like creativity also is on a spectrum of like creativity and frustration. And you know, if you're really frustrated, you're not going to be very creative, but like while you're creating and you're like thinking of new ideas, it's really like fulfilling, and so you're not as stressed. So that's like I always try to like keep on the creative side of that and try to stay less frustrated.
Don't you? And I agree. There are a lot of moments when I am not frustrated and I can come up with something, but
yeah,
wouldn't you also say that when you are in a pinch, or as the saying goes, diamonds were created under pressure, or are created under pressure.
Right.
So wouldn't you kind of say that sometimes frustration might like Might like get it there.
Yeah, definitely. It depends on in what step of the process you're in. Like that's what I feel
actually,
like.
it is true.
It depends what step of the process, because like if you're at the very beginning and you're trying to make this idea up out of just thin air, like
Right.
that's when it can get really frustrating, where you just get blocked.
Right.
Like that's where stuff it straight up just gets
like,
blocked.
What the fuck?
If you have some kind of an idea and you're trying to work through some of the more like fine tuning, and you get kind of frustrated, that's when it kind of becomes more motivating for you to like go and finish it.
Right.
And really use those ideas and really start getting the wheel turning. But it's also like when I get frustrated, that's usually when I reach out to somebody and collaborate with somebody, which is funny because it's one of the other C's.
No, that's great. Actually, yeah, it's great.
And using their ideas is like what helps me become creative also.
Right.
You know?
So I find that your answer is really interesting, and it aligns perfectly, and we didn't talk about this, by the way. I wasn't like, wow, that's funny you say that because blank. No, like legitimately. The fastcompany.com or just Fast Company, if you guys are aware of that company, they're great. I love Fast. They write about so much fucking great shit just to like get that engine going. One of the first things that they said when you're stop waiting for creativity or inspiration or something like that and just manufacture it instead. And I was like, damn. That's what I inherently do because I have to be creative. Otherwise, I will blow my brains out. But not everybody would know that. The first thing they say is, first off, be patient and don't get frustrated. Mm-hmm. This is the hardest thing in the world when you're on a deadline, but there's just no way around it. For many of us, years of schooling instilled the idea that steady progress is the way to get anything done. Need to write a 10-page paper? Knock out 2 pages a day for 5 days. Each day you've got 2 more pages to show for your efforts. Yay! Well, unfortunately, writing a paper in a lot of those ways, I mean, if you're writing like a research paper, it's not really exactly the same thing as being like creative. Not that that's not being creative, but you get what I mean. When you need real insight, though, particularly for creative work, progress is discontinuous. For a long time, you have nothing. Then after a moment of inspiration, you're on the road to solving your problem, you know? And I dig that because I not only write and all that shit for mortgage companies and marketing and blah, blah, but I am if you didn't know out there, I'm a hardcore music writer. I don't release music often, but I'm always writing and I'm always recording something. I mean, just the other day, my girlfriend was telling a story of how she went to go. She was like, all right, babe, I'm going to go in the shower. And I was like, cool. And I started watching TV. And by the time she had gotten out of the shower, I had basically written an entire song with lyrics. I was just like, oh yeah, I think I have an idea. But that's kind of the point though. I strike it when the iron is hot and I have to, or I will either lose the idea or I'll at least lose the essence of what I'm trying to go for. Because it's maybe not always like together. But if basically what I'm trying to say is, here's the takeaway. If you feel the creative urge, don't put that away. Don't do it, man. That's a good thing. If we're living in the world of side hustles right now, you know, that's like side gigs is like what gets a lot of people that extra dough to get rent money or whatever the fuck, you know, whatever you're trying to do. Dude, who knows where that creative adventure or idea or whatever might get you. Dude, that's exactly why we do this. You know what I mean? This was just an idea that we were sort of like, dude, we've been talking about doing a podcast for so long. And I was like, yeah, it's so funny because I've been looking to start a podcast just for like adulthood. And then I was like, well, not just me, but we were both like, oh my God, wait, dude, why don't we just do these two things together? And here we have this. And I think it's great. I love doing this, dude. It makes me like, I don't always want to talk about mortgages, as I'm sure you are aware. It's important to me, you know, and I love marketing. I really do. And it allows me to be creative, but like, it's not what I want to do forever in the rest of my life. What I want to do is be creative and have people like connect with that shit. And that's what we do, dude. We do that. So anyway, that's what happens though for me when I do feel like the iron is striking and it's hot. But Greg, do you ever feel like you're in that rut? You ever get that like creative writer block, whatever the fuck you want to call it? If you're not, you're not a writer per se, but like
all the time. Like, I mean, even if I like, because I used to write lyrics all the time.
Oh, I guess that's true. Yeah, right.
And more recently, I've been trying to get back into it, and I find it a lot harder than I did before. So now I have a notebook for like pretty much everything, and so whenever I get an idea, like I want to try to strike it when it's hot, like you said. But if I can at the time, or I've got 1,000 different things going on in my head, like I always do, I have a notebook where I write down ideas. I write down, like, if I think of a cool line for a song, like I'll write that in my lyrics.
Just write it down. Yeah, just
if I have some kind of like thought of how a song should go, I'll write down how it sounds on guitar on like a tab format or something.
Right. Right, yeah.
So like whenever I have some kind of idea, I always write it down because I'm probably gonna forget it. But the other thing is
all the time.
Yeah, but the other portion of that is that when you have a notebook and you have all of your ideas in one spot, sometimes your ideas mix together and they become even better, and that happens a lot for me.
Actually,
like,
yeah, that is true. That's really
it
true.
happens a lot. I'll look through stuff because I always wanted to invent something. I wanted to have some kind of product that I made up that made life easier in some kind of way.
Totally.
And I mean, I haven't gotten there yet. Everything that I've thought of has already been made and sold. But, you start having these ideas and you start writing them down for all these different products. And then like this has this use and this has this use. But what if you put them together? And like that kind of just in itself gets your creative juices flowing.
Yeah,
and it kind of
you don't know when those two
easier.
things are going to spark another thing,
Exactly,
Yeah, I dig that. No, that does make sense. That's a really interesting way to think about it. I was going to go the route of like, and this is Fast Company again. And I'm not just reading what they said because this is just truly how I feel. This is also another friend of mine, Edwin, who's a great artistic inspiration for me. A friend of mine. I swear to God. It's not just like some dude I made up. Edwin, dude, always told me like, just go research something, man. If you need to figure out this, even if you think go research it. And I think here it says go read something, but I think research is like a big overarching theme for whatever that is. For me, often, because I do a lot more research in writing music than I do with marketing. I think that my marketing gene is a lot more intuitive, and for some reason music, I get the inspiration when I read or I watch videos or I play. Like sometimes just noodling will start something. So what I've been doing like lately is, and this is just a recommendation for y'all out there if you like music, or I don't know, I try to translate it to whatever I'm trying to do. I read the Beastie Boys book, which was fucking great. And again, like Beastie Boys and 311 are like right up there with like my faves, bro. I love the Beastie Boys. They had a book. I got the book. I even got the audio book. Let's see, what's another one I did? Oh, Flea's book, The Basis for Red Hot Chili Peppers. They're great. I love them. He has a book called Acid for the Children. That's a gnarly book, but it also really got me going with some ideas because they talk about, we recorded this way, and this is kind of how we did this. The Eagles documentary, because it's not the Eagles. Eagles documentary is fucking amazing, super long, but really inspirational. So when I think like I need to write music, find something that has to do with the thing that you are trying to achieve. And I guarantee you'll go, oh, that like epiphany light bulb moment will strike, and then strike when the iron's hot. I've had to turn off, or I've had to put the book down, or I've had to turn off TV or whatever, and like, you know what I mean? Like I have an idea, and then I have to do it.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that's a good point that you made, is that like the iron isn't always just hot, and it's not always just cold.
No.
Like it heats up, and then it cools down, and then it heats up again. Like once you get back into that kind of creative mood. Like, I mean, you could probably get a block, and then all of a sudden you're like reading one of those books, and then you get heat up again, and then all of a sudden you're like back in it. And so, sometimes it does take a couple sessions in order to like fully complete a creative session. You know what I mean?
Right.
The actual idea.
Right. No, I dig that. It's true. So let's revisit real quick. what those things are to like when you're in that creative rut or whatever, how to like get out of it basically. One of them is to do research. Another one is to write it out or talk it out, which was said by you, Greg, because talking about it or getting help, getting advice from other people may not be exactly what you're looking for, but we all know that moment when we've been like, they were giving me advice and it was good, but it wasn't exactly what I needed, but I got it. You know what I mean? Like, I know.
Yeah. And talking to other people adds a different perspective that
God.
You might have not looked at it, and that adds all the difference sometimes.
Dude, totally. I completely agree. That's why I write a lot of music on my own, but like, how often am I sending you stuff, Greg?
Oh, all the time.
Like, all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, in my workplace, like that's literally the main way of creativity that I can do, because like, I mean, really, I'm a store manager, so I don't have a boss who's there with me every day who can like teach me stuff.
Right.
And so like, if I have to solve a problem, like I'm reaching out to all my colleagues, my other store managers within my district, and like I'm literally just pulling ideas from all these different people and putting them all together in one creative,
we did the same
jumble. Yeah, and that ends up being the solution. So
right, no,
it's all about different perspectives and different people with different levels of expertise and their different life experiences, and so it makes all the difference with your creativity.
Dude, I think it really does, and that just being able to like flex the creativity muscle. And I've heard so many people say like, I'm not creative. Like, I just don't buy it. I think that your definition of what creative means or is really uptight probably, and doesn't fit into the way that you would perceive immediately as creative. Like,
it's like a mainstream understanding of it.
Dude, yeah. I think that's
like music, painting, like that kind of creativity.
Writing, you know what I mean? Dance, like, sure, those are all art forms.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. That is creative. But you know who I think is ultimately massively creative? I look at astrophysicists. You and I have done a lot of reading on astrophysics in general. And I think every time that you and I always say the same fucking thing, which was like, well, like, how did they get from point A to point B? Like, how did they fucking get from here thinking about this to thinking about this and going, these two things are connected?
And one of the
creativity. It's creativity.
And the metaphors that they use to get people to understand it.
Yeah, it's true.
That's one of the most creative things too. Like, you'll be reading something and you're like, I don't understand this at all. And then they're like, it's kind of like,
let me break it down for you. Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of like when you glaze a donut. You're like, holy shit, I get it. Like, what? Like where did that come from?
There's so many jokes for glazing a donut. It's sort of like a Philly cheesesteak sandwich. Actually, I will say, before we wrap this up, I remember one time my brother Colin and I were watching, I think it was the NBA or something like that, which is sad to talk about right now considering what just happened with Kobe Bryant, which is not just Kobe Bryant, everyone involved with that and their families. It's massively terrible. And it hurts as a long time Laker fan and a fan of someone who was just, I mean, he's just always been about like the, hey, make yourself better mentality. And I don't know much about the other people involved, of course, but dude, it's regardless of their place in celebrityism or their place in life, it's massively terrible. So I was talking to my brother Colin recently about just the NBA and stuff. And we were reminiscing on the time we were watching the NBA together, and the color commentary, the creative guy in the booth, adding a little bit of zhuzh into the broadcast. He literally said something along the lines of, yeah, it's sort of like a Philly cheesesteak sandwich. And we were like, what the fuck is this guy fucking talking? How is this like a Philly cheesesteak sandwich? Explain that to me. And he sort of laughed. He was like, we were like, no.
He didn't elaborate.
He didn't elaborate. I think he was just trying to be funny. And we were like,
it's delicious. I don't know.
Yeah. He's I don't even, there's layers, there's cheese, and it's delicious. So I think in conclusion to all this, and I didn't want to give the listeners out there, viewers out there, like, this is what you have to do. This is what we think it is, and so you should too. I think it's important to understand where you think or where you understand or where you see creativity actually exist in your life, because I think that, and I don't know this for sure, but I think that if you see it more as something that you need to work out, you need to flex, you need to work at, you need to understand that you don't always have the best idea, or that you might need to be more confident in your ideas, any of those, you might need to just reassess your own personal relationship with the creativity that you're expressing or utilizing or understanding in the world. I think that if you look at it that way and you take it seriously, and but you stay loose with it, it's important to stay a little loosey-goosey, you know? If you take it seriously and you see it as something of importance in your life, which obviously Greg and I, we really do. We've been writing music together, we were in bands together, we've been writing music together, we do this together. It's just sort of like we've always been collaborative, and you'll see how your life will change, and you'll see where you may have thought you had some deficits, or where you can use that oddly unspecific or specific bit of creativity in something in your everyday life that might just make shit better. You know what I mean? That's okay.
It'll change the way you think. And, like, go out and start a new hobby. Like, if you don't think you're very creative, like, go out and start a new hobby, and that can spark all kinds of thoughts and ideas, and just the way that you think about things. And, like, I mean, if you start something new and you get really into it, then you're going to be thinking about it, like, a lot.
Yeah, dude.
And that'll start bleeding into other things, and that brings everything you need sometimes.
Dude, I couldn't have said it better myself. I love that idea.
And go out and do something that you love too, because when you do something that you love, that's when your mind is at peace, and that's when you can really, like, start getting loose with it, and that's when you kind of just start coming up with some weird shit that you can
something just might pop, and you'll be like, oh shit, and that could mean anything. Oh, sorry, I hit the microphone. That could mean anything for people out there. I'm gonna specifically say just to creative people. Like, if you're working in film or you're working in music or something like that, dude, you just don't know when it's gonna hit, and don't rely. In my opinion, this is just my personal opinion. We're not gonna get onto the drug subject, like, oh, I'll take LSD, I'll microdose, or whatever the fuck. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck you do, but, like, I don't know. I think that's like a form of what we're trying to say you should do, but I wouldn't try to rely so heavily on drugs or alcohol for the rest of your life for so many reasons.
The easiest thing you can do is go outside. Like, literally going outside, going on a hike, like, go somewhere you've never been before, and go somewhere where there aren't roads and lights.
I like that.
You know what I mean?
I like that.
Go somewhere where, like, literally you're out of civilization. Like, you're in the middle of freaking nowhere.
And you get shitty phone reception.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, put your phone away or something. Like,
and your phone is only good for taking photos. That's
exactly. Yeah. Turn off your cellular data.
Yeah.
And go out on a hike or something and just take photos and
learn how to use Photoshop or something like that. Fuck, I don't know.
Yeah. Just soak it all in, Yeah. Go out and do something that you've never done before.
Absorb, translate, and express.
Absorb through your butthole.
Yeah. Yeah. Go butthole sunning. Come on,
you know what?
man.
I actually asked one of my managers today at work. She was like, I was like, so what do you do for creativity, right? She's like, I lay on my bed backwards. And I was like, okay.
I thought this was going to be a butthole joke, but okay.
No, but she's like, I lay on my bed backwards. And I go, okay, so, like, you put your feet, like, where your pillows are, and you put your head at the bottom. She's like, yeah, and sometimes, like, I'll lay upside down on the couch or something. Like, it just gets a new perspective. And I'm like, that's
so easy to do. It's so easy to do.
Like, that's butthole sunning. Like, that literally is butthole sunning. Like, you're literally just putting yourself in a weird freaking position where you see the world different. You know what I mean? It works. Butthole sunning works. Go out and suntan your butthole.
We still haven't done it. We need to do this.
I will tell you though, since my roommate is gone this week, yesterday I sat in my family room. And I, like, sat on my couch, like, in a really awkward position and was watching TV upside down. Yeah, laying with the dogs. and like you just start thinking random, because like I was watching TV, but then again I wasn't really thinking about what I was watching. I was thinking about all kinds of other stuff. Like, and so it's really weird how it messes with your mind when you move your body around and do something that like just is freaking weird.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I dig it.
Be weird.
So yeah. Oh no, I dig it. Okay, sorry. We should be wrapping this up. But one last thing, and this is something I take from meditation. Don't look at your thoughts as if you are existing in them per se, but look at them as each a passing thought. And if you would really like, because I am somebody who has to like live in every thought and like fucking feel it, and it's just so it ends up like honestly sometimes it like boosts my anxiety. I'm like, what the fuck is this scenario I've built for myself? But just look at each passing thought and remember that it is just a passing thought. And if there's something in there that you'd like to check out further, please do. If not, let it go, move on to the next one. Because getting a new perspective and just having a free flowing thought process, dude, people strive for that all their life and they don't get it, you know? So anyway, that's all I got. Greg, you want to wrap up with anything or are you good?
Nope, that's all I got.
And that's all, folks.
That's life.
That's life. So, guys, thank you so much for checking us out, as always. Thanks for sticking through the alcohol thing. That was pretty funny. And thanks for, like, just letting us have an open conversation about creativity. Hopefully, like, it kickstarts something for you, you know? I know it does for me whenever I have, like, that relook at what's going on. But, yeah, thank you, guys. Check us out on all the social medias, man. And we'll be posting more clips soon, dude. It's going to be the best. It's just an open spot. And one day, Greg will be in this seat right here, and it's going to be so funny.
Powwow.
It's going to be great. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.